Welcome to the Come Together Hub podcast. My name's Georgia. Sat with me is Carl and Dave. Today we're going to do a reading out of the Just for Today and then do a little discussion on it. So it's March 27th, looking for the assets. In according with the principles of recovery, we try not to judge, stereotype or moralise with each other. How many times in our recovery have we misunderstood the behaviour of another, immediately formed a judgment, applied a label and neatly took the individual into a pigeonhole? Perhaps they had developed a different understanding of a power greater than themselves than we had, so we concluded their beliefs were unspiritual. Or maybe we saw a couple having an argument, we assumed their relationship was sick, only to find out later that their marriage had prospered for many years. Thoughtlessly tossing our fellows into categories saved us the effort of finding out anything about them. Every time we judge the behaviour of another, we cease to see them as potential friends and fellow travellers on the road of recovery. If we happen to ask those who we are judging if they appreciate being stereotyped, we would receive a resounding no in response. We would feel slighted if this was done to us. Yes, indeed. Our best qualities are what we want others to notice. In the same way, our fellow recovering addicts want to be well thought of. Our programme of recovery asks us to look positively at life. The more we concentrate on the positive qualities in others, the more we will notice them in ourselves. Just for today, I will set aside my negative judgments of others and concentrate instead on appreciating the favourable qualities in all. So, I'll just hand it over to you two to give your perspectives on that. What you're thinking.
Thanks, Georgia. Okay, we've already agreed that I'll go first. Yeah, that's a really good reading. You know, when I'm thinking about judgment and judging others, first of all, I have to remember the fundamentals of being a human is I'm always going to judge. It's something that's in me. Goes back from Neanderthal days where I need to keep myself safe. I need to make sound judgments all the time. So I'm always going to make judgments, and I have acceptance around that. And I judge today, and the goal is for me to judge, but then do something positive with that judgment, to then see that thing I've seen, whatever it is I've judged somebody for, to see it in a better light and to see the good in it and be more spiritual around the judgments I'm making, because I'm going to make them. I've got acceptance around that. I'm going to judge. But I have to be completely honest when I talk about this stuff. I ain't at the point I want to be with this stuff. I'm telling you now, I will be around other NA members, I will be in meetings, and I'm judging. And a lot of the time it's not nice what's going through my head. And that's my truth. That is my truth. And I'm not going to sit here, pretend to be all super spiritual, pretend to be some kind of amazing guru and say, no, I don't judge NA. You know, if a newcomer comes into the room, I'm judging.
Yeah.
You know, if someone's doing something, I'm judging, but I get to learn from the judgments that I'm making, and I get to understand what's happening, and I get to grow, because this is a journey, not a destination.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you when my judgment gets really, really bad, and when I'm thinking sick things about other people, is when I see in somebody else something that I dislike about myself.
Yeah.
And it can be a completely different defect, but coming from the same root, and I'll recognise it, and it might not be something I've done, but it might be a same defect that I will run on. And then that is the person that gets slated the most in my head. But it's said in that reading, you know, the more we look for the good in others, the more we'll see the good in ourselves. So for me, it's about, rather than trying to stop myself from judging, because I've already accepted that I'm going to judge, work more on applying the principles I need to be loving, to be caring, to accept others. And if I'm bringing that good stuff in, then the chances are I'm much less likely, because I can't be good and bad at the same time. So that's where I'm on judgment. I do it. Do I particularly like that I do it? Not necessarily, but I understand that I have to do it to keep myself safe and to find out what I want and what I don't want in life. But my goal is, and it's not where I'm at, my goal is to become better through the judgments I make and to think more kindly of others. That's where I'm at with judgments.
Yeah.
Complete honesty, throw my hands up. I ain't gonna fucking lie, I judge.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that as well. I think acceptance was the key word, what you used there.
Yeah.
You know, I found myself being really, really judgmental, and my only defence against that was accepting everything for exactly how it was, the good, the bad, in order to reframe myself, because it put me in a whole world of pain, being judgmental. Because like you said, it's like stuff you don't like about yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a mirror.
It is like looking in a big giant mirror.
That's well, around what you've both said, and around acceptance, and it all leads back to what I've done in that particular day where I am and again the aim is, because it's that acceptance, and for me keeping it basic of my thoughts and facts. It's going to go in there. But in particular where it says about morally, I can get on that moral line and say, well, and judge someone and be talking, to someone else, and I'm going, but I'm saying this for, if they'd done that, they'd find recovery easier, not, try and justify it. But that's when, I've got to look back at myself, and that's what, like Carl, you were saying, brings things up for me of what I don't like, that mirror. But some days I can see those behaviours. If I'm not doing it, and be totally accepting and, showing empathy, love and care. But the next day, it may be, what the fuck is this? No chance. What? They're not an addict. But it always comes back to, I've got to look at me and take responsibility, and it's on.
Supply them principles, isn't it?
Yeah, it stays in my head, and I get it straight and work through the process, apply the principle. It's less pain,
Yeah, I can find that I can get a lot of growth through looking at how I'm judging other people, through inventorying myself, and I can get a lot of growth, because I'll be totally honest, I like to be comfortable, I like my life to be easy, I like instant gratification, and it's so much easier for me to look at you than look at me. So much easier, and that's where I want to be, in an easy place. But I don't want to be in recovery just to stay clean. I want to be in recovery to grow. I don't want to be chemically clean. I want to be clean living, and that comes from looking at myself, looking at my judgments, and then because recovery is not for the faint-hearted, and this is one of the reasons why it's not for the faint-hearted. Having the bollocks to look at myself, address myself, and then change my behaviours and change my views. That's why it's not for the faint-hearted, because it's not. Recovery today for me isn't about staying off drugs. Recovery for me is about being comfortable with living without drugs. And that takes a lot of work. And it's having the balls to sit down, look at what you're doing, look at where you're thinking, look at the way you're behaving, look at your attitudes and your perceptions and your views on the world, and having the balls to do something about it. And it's not an easy process, but growth never is.
I had to do it this morning with that, you just said, instant gratification. Then I used my sister's hairdryer this morning, and it was a £200 hairdryer. It was a Dyson hairdryer, and immediately as I picked this hairdryer up and put it to my head, I went, why is my hair not dry? Like, because it was a £200 hairdryer, my head went, your hair should be dry now. And I was like, right, I need to go and do something. I was like, instantly I was just like, this is like, why is it not working? Because it was like 2 seconds on my hair.
Don't be making amends to Dyson, George.
No.
You've got better things to do all day.
I hate that when my hair dries does that as well.
But yeah, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks, guys. Keep watching. Keep following. Give us a like. Give us a comment. If there's anything you want us to discuss, or you've got any ideas for us, leave us a message. Yeah, thanks.
Nice one.
Thank you.
Thank you.